It's January 8th, 2018, just after New Year. I'm looking at my account, and as you can see, my short position, a long-term short position, has been closed. Let's see. Notifications log is not showing anything. How unfortunate. Now, my previous long-term order was to short Bitcoin. I hoped it to go down even further, which it did. However, I place my long-term trade in between these sessions, which means that I wasn't micromanaging it. So when the market turned against me, I'm not going to do anything. Unless I'm actually recording. And in this case, my trade has been wiped out. I've lost more than $2,000 for each Bitcoin that I have invested, and I have invested 2 Bitcoins to short it. So this was another unsuccessful trade, which is fine. I see that Bitcoin once again is moving downwards from 16,800 or 17,174 high to as low as 14,000. It's unclear if it's starting to rebound. That's in 1 hour chart. That's on Coinbase. Unfortunately, I don't trade Coinbase, so don't take those numbers precisely. Because I'm trading 1 minute on Bitstamp, I'm going to only talk about Bitstamp. So what can we see here? It went from a high of 17,198 to as low as 13,900 on Bitstamp exchange, and it's currently starting to rebound. By looking at 1 hour chart, I would guess that it's on current trend, it's going south, no doubts about it. But for the next session, I would like to see a Bitcoin rising. And I'm sure that Bitcoin has had its correction here right now. It's consolidating, but overall it's keeping its price where it's ought to be, and it's high. I wouldn't be surprised that at any point in time it's going to start going high up, and this time my long term decision would be to buy it. It's going down, but I assume that this is just another long-term correction, and it will just keep rising just as it previously did. And I'm sure that the potential for Bitcoin is still not reached. However, I wouldn't be surprised that the overall price, median price of Bitcoin shouldn't exceed more than 15 or 10,000. So I think that Bitcoin ultimately due to its fees structure, should stay at around 10,000 and no more, so that everybody would be able to use Bitcoin as a means of exchange rather than as a means to buy only very expensive products or just use it for the investment purposes due to its volatility. I'm eating a very juicy steak right now. That's like the best takeaway, or one of the best takeaways. Just buy yourself a steak and cook it yourself. Prepared steak, I mean, that's why it's takeaway, because you don't have to prepare it. You just put it in the pan, keep it there, turn it around for a couple of times, make sure the pan is hot, and you'll end up with a very well cooked steak, which is obviously awesome. I say it's better than the takeaway solely because there's so much more meat. Takeaways most of the time don't use that much meat, and when I buy something that consists of meat, I expect or want to have a lot of meat in it. So if I buy a kebab, for example, I expect it to be filled with meat and not filled with vegetables mostly. Obviously it depends on the taste, but that's how I see it. Is I enjoy the meat. That's why I think it's the best takeaway. It's not necessarily takeaway, but I'm sure it's much better than preparing the steak yourself. Now, due to the fact that I expect it to rise even further, I move on to Coinbase and I'm buying a long-term 2 bitcoins. I need a stop loss for this. If it moves to 12,961, it's fine. I can take the loss. That's it. It's in position. If it goes down by a couple of $1,000, then it's a loss. On Coinbase it already went down to 14,000, so we have a strong support here that it may just keep going up. As you know, that is the newest support level for a daily chart on Bitcoin versus dollar on Coinbase exchange. On Bitstamp exchange, The resistance level is $100 different. It's at 13,900. That's the thing. Let's move on further and see what else is happening. You can see Ripple. Ripple has moved on to, as you know, tremendous amount, $3.30 on Bitstamp. On other exchanges it may as well went a lot more. And currently it's losing it. However, I wouldn't call it a disaster, because it went down from such a high, from such an incredibly high level, that this fact that it haven't gone to like 2 cents is amazing too. Besides, I've researched a little bit about Ripple, and it seems that Ripple is going to be applied, or other companies out there, financial institutions, want to apply Ripple technology into their own line of work. For this reason, Ripple could be indeed be a much more valuable, if it currently is not. Its value is incredible. It's over $100 billion. Obviously, if it keeps going up, it's no surprise. However, I wouldn't be surprised that all of these cryptocurrencies will rise and fall simultaneously, more or less. Now, as you can see, I'm on a 1 minute chart. Look at that, there were some really interesting things going on here. I'm sure that many short positions have been closed on this trade right here. That's one of these so-called, well, I call it myself, you can call it too, a video mine. It's from a StarCraft 2 video game. You know, video mine that the turn race can place. It's undetectable and it reacts to your presence. It has some kind of emotion detector. So if you move close to it, it jumps out of its position and explodes. That's the thing right here. What do you see? You see that the market was going down, and expect that it will either correct itself soon or it will stay going down, because that's a quite a good rally down. And then out of nowhere you get this right here, a widow mine. Bam! And you're dead. She's a widow right now. An incredible change, an absolute beast. Then it opens up very low. So if anybody kind of used this as an indication that it will rise, he probably got another position closed, because the market opened nearly beneath the hike. And after that, it kept going down for a bit until it eventually started to correct itself. So that's an interesting trade right here. That's +2 UTC right here. Now I need to choose my position, 1 minute position. I see that there was a nice V shape right here. I like these very much. I think these are the money makers if somebody can actually find themselves in one of these trades. Now currently it looks like we're on a rally here, and I probably already expect a downwards trend, because it simply every time it moves upwards it will certainly move downwards too. For this reason I'm just going to keep up with it going upwards up to the point where it starts going down, and hopefully I'll be able to catch up with it going down. And that's Ethereum right here. Ethereum has suffered a really tremendous spike downwards here. However, that spike has been corrected. As you can see, we've got another nice V shape. As far as I know, Ethereum very much mimics Bitcoin, so we can see just how much these two cryptocurrencies depend on each other. Well, they probably do not depend on each other, but they certainly experience the same or very similar amount of intakes and outtakes of its stock. Surprisingly enough, it's not even a stock, as you know. This is like this is like money. Because it actually says the value of a unit that you can use as money, which is very interesting indeed. It obviously works on the same principle, but it's not exactly a stock. It looks like my 1 minute right here has blobbed up itself a little bit. Let's go to a commodity right here. That's a daily WTI crude oil, pretty much American oil. There's Brent oil out there and WTI, so that's just a different type oil that's out there, and their prices are mostly similar, but not exactly the same. Even if it's oil, we can see how oil kind of survived after the initial non-stop crash right here. That was the non-stop crash, and then it just bounced all the way through